Welcome, everyone. I'm Dr. Nanhee Burns, and today we're about to crack one of the most mind-bending mysteries in English grammar: when not to use articles, even with singular countable nouns. That's right, we're diving into the fascinating world of the zero article, a tiny grammar detail with the power to completely change your meaning and instantly boost your fluency.
First, let's understand what zero article means. It means using no article before a noun. Now, one important grammar rule you must remember is that singular countable nouns cannot be used without an article or some other determiner. For example, it is absolutely wrong to say, "I have book and apple." Both book and apple are singular countable nouns, so you need to say, "I have a book and an apple." However, there are exceptions. In some specific situations, singular countable nouns can appear without any article, and the sentence is still grammatically correct. For example, we say, "I had lunch," or "I went to bed," even though lunch and bed are singular countable nouns. In fact, native speakers sometimes use both forms with and without articles. For instance, you might hear, "He went to prison," or "He went to the prison." Both are possible, but mean different things. In English, many occasions allow both forms, with and without the article, but they are not interchangeable because they express different meanings. To use these correctly, you need to understand the difference in meaning when using the zero article. Using zero article with singular countable nouns is very common in everyday native English speech. Not using zero article when necessary can make your speech sound unnatural or cause confusion. Mastering this exception is important because native speakers use these expressions frequently in daily conversations. Understanding their nuances will improve your comprehension and fluency. Today, our goal is to help you master this exception: the use of the zero article with singular countable nouns. This usually happens because of fixed idiomatic expressions, which are common phrases used in a certain pattern. To help you remember when and why this happens, we'll look at 6 typical categories where this exception applies: buildings or locations, transportation, meals, time expressions, sports, and nouns with numbers. Let's get started. Let's begin with the first major case where the zero article is used with singular countable nouns. And that is when we're talking about the purpose or function of a place or thing, not the specific physical building or object. Now, this may sound subtle, but it's an important distinction. In English, when we use certain nouns to talk about their intended use or purpose, we drop the article. This is what we call the zero article. But if we're talking about the same noun as a specific place or physical object, then we must use the. Here's the general rule. Use the zero article when the noun refers to the function, activity, or purpose. Use the when referring to the physical location, building, or object. Let's look at some key examples to make this distinction clearer. Number 1. School, university, college, function versus building. We say, "The child is going to school." "I will be in dental school this fall." "She is going to college." In these sentences, school and college are about the function, going there to study or receive education. Now, compare that to, "The mother is going to the school." "Let's go to the university this afternoon." Here, the school or the university is a specific location, perhaps for a meeting or event, not for education. Number 2. Bed, sleeping versus object. "I'm going to bed now." That means I'm going to sleep, bed as a resting place. But the cat is sleeping on the bed. Now we're talking about the physical object, the piece of furniture. Number 3. Church, worship versus building. They go to church every Sunday. That means they go to attend a religious service, which is the purpose of a church. But if we say, they walked by the church on their way home, we're referring to the building itself. Maybe they're not going inside at all. Number 4, prison. Being punished versus visiting. He went to prison for theft. That means he's serving a sentence as a prisoner. Now look at, she went to the prison to visit her brother. Here, it's the physical location being referred to. Number 5, office. Position versus space. She has been in office for about a year now. That means she holds a position of power or responsibility. She has been in the office for about an hour now. Now it's a specific room or workplace. Number 6, class, activity versus membership. Don't call her now, she's in class. That means she's currently studying or attending a lesson. There are 30 students in the class. Here, the class refers to a specific group of students. Number 7, sea, work versus visit. He went to sea means he became a sailor or went to work on a ship. They went to the sea. This means they visited the seaside or beach. Number 8, hospital, treatment versus location, British versus American English. In American English, we usually say, he is in the hospital, whether he's being treated or simply located there. In British English, there's a difference. He is in hospital after the accident. That means he is receiving medical treatment. But she's in the hospital to visit a friend. That's about the physical place itself. So the key takeaway from this first category is this. When you refer to what the place is for, use zero article. When you refer to the actual place, use the. This distinction is subtle but crucial for sounding natural and fluent in English. Let's now move on to the next category. Secondly, transportation. Now let's move on to the second major category where we often see the zero article used with singular countable nouns, and that is when we are talking about transportation. In everyday English, when we talk about how we travel, not the specific vehicle, but the mode or method of transport, we often use the preposition by, followed directly by the noun without an article. This is a fixed structure in English. By plus means of transport, and this structure takes no article. Why? Because we're not talking about a particular bus, a certain train, or a specific plane. Instead, we're simply describing how we get from one place to another, the method of transport. Let's look at a few examples. I go to school by bus. They usually travel by train. We came by car. He prefers to fly by plane. She commutes by bike. They arrived by boat. All of these are examples of general modes of transport using the zero article, and that's perfectly natural English. An important exception, walking. When we talk about walking as a means of transportation, we don't say by foot. Instead, we say, I go to school on foot. So remember, all forms of mechanical transport use by plus noun without an article, but walking uses on foot. Now, what if you're talking about a specific vehicle? Here's where the rule changes. If you're referring to a specific instance of taking or using transportation, we do not use by. Instead, we use prepositions like on or in, and we include a determiner, often the article the. Use on if we can stand and walk inside, like on the bus, on the train, and in if we cannot stand and walk around, like in the car. Let's see what that looks like. I am on the bus. This means you are currently inside a specific bus. She is on the plane. Again, this is about being aboard a particular flight. He is on a boat. Refers to being physically on a boat, perhaps one of many. We are in a car. When you are in a vehicle where you sit and cannot stand. They are in a taxi. Referring to a specific taxi ride.
3. Meals.
Thirdly, meals, routine versus event. Let's now look at the third major category where we use the zero article with singular countable nouns, and that is when we talk about meals. In English, nouns like breakfast, lunch, dinner, supper, and brunch are technically singular countable nouns, but when they refer to general, routine daily meals, we use them without any article. That is, we use the zero article. This happens because, in these cases, the noun doesn't refer to a specific countable meal. Instead, it refers to the idea of the meal as a regular daily activity or time of day. Let's look at some examples. I had breakfast early today. Let's meet for lunch tomorrow. What are we having for dinner? She's making dinner right now. We usually have breakfast around 7. Notice how in all these sentences, we're talking about meals as routine experiences, not individual events. The meals are not countable in this context. This is why we do not use a or the. So, whenever you're referring to a meal as part of a daily schedule or habit, no article is needed. Beise with article equals specific meal or event. Now, here's where the rule changes. When we use a or the before a meal, we're no longer just talking about a routine. Instead, we're referring to a specific meal or a meal as an event. At this point, the noun becomes countable and the article is required. Let's see some examples. I had a lunch with my manager yesterday. This is not just a typical lunch, it was a planned or purposeful event. We're planning a breakfast for the volunteers. Again, this is a specific event, not just the morning meal. She prepared the dinner for the guests. Now we're talking about one particular meal, possibly prepared for a social occasion. So, the moment you treat the meal as a countable event, as something with guests or special planning or unique context, you must use an article. Special note, adjectives change the meaning. Here's something very important to remember. When a meal word is modified by an adjective, you are almost always referring to a specific meal, and therefore you must use an article. Let's compare. I had lunch. General mealtime. I had a delicious lunch. Now you're describing a specific lunch, so you need a. What's incorrect is saying, I had delicious lunch. That's not standard English. If you add an adjective like delicious, quick, great, formal, business, etc., the meal becomes a specific occasion and must be treated as a countable noun. Let's look at a few more correct examples. We enjoyed a fantastic dinner last night. She prepared a quick breakfast. He hosted a formal dinner for the board members. In each of these, the article is required because we're not talking about a general routine. We're talking about specific meals as events. 4. Time expressions. Let us now turn our attention to another important context where the zero article is frequently used, time expressions. English time expressions can be tricky as they often rely on fixed usage patterns. Sometimes we use zero article, sometimes the, and occasionally a or an, depending on how general or specific the time reference is. Let's break this down clearly. Rule of thumb. Zero article is used in fixed expressions or when time is referred to generally. The is used when the time is specific or already known in context. A or an is used to refer to one instance of a time period, not a general one. Common fixed time phrases with zero article. These are very frequent and natural in everyday English. Here we use zero article. At dawn. At sunrise. At sunset. At noon. At midnight. At night. At present. In these expressions, we are talking about general time periods, not a specific moment, but recurring or typical times of day. Examples: I sleep at night. The stars are visible at night. Foxes hunt at night. I woke up at dawn. He always studies at night. The birds sing at sunrise. These are part of regular habits, routines, or natural cycles. No article is needed. When the is used with time expressions. You may use the when the phrase is modified or refers to a specific moment. For example, at the dawn of the 21st century. Now, dawn refers to a specific metaphorical time, so we use the. Compare, he arrived at dawn, general time. He arrived at the dawn of a new era, specific metaphorical time. During the night versus in the night. To talk about specific occurrences or interruptions that happened within the night, we use during the night or in the night. Note the required use of the. I woke up during the night because of a thunderstorm. The baby cried several times during the night. There were power cuts during the night. Here, during the night is the most natural phrase when discussing specific happenings at night. In the night is less common and often more poetic or literary. I heard whispers in the night. A shadow moved in the night. She vanished in the night, never to be seen again. Avoid incorrect forms. During night must be during the night. In night must be in the night if used at all. Seasons, general versus specific. We use zero article when referring to seasons generally and the when referring to a particular season. General use, zero article. Flowers bloom in spring. We often travel in summer. Allergies are common in fall. Specific use with the. I planted the garden in the spring of 2022. We're going to Paris in the spring. It usually rains a lot in the spring here. So the use of the with seasons is completely acceptable, but only when referring to a known, specific time frame. By day, by night versus by the day. Finally, let's examine by phrases. General time, zero article. Farmers work by day and rest by night. Some animals hunt by night. Here, by day, by night are fixed expressions referring to general times of day. No article is needed. Measuring time, with the. The hotel rents rooms by the day. He charges clients by the day for his services. In these cases, by the day means per day, and we use the to signal unit-based time measurement. 5. Sports and games. No article is used before the names of most sports or games when talking about the activity itself. Rule is use the zero article when referring to playing or watching a sport in general. Examples: I play basketball. She likes to watch football. Do you enjoy playing tennis? He's good at golf. Note, if you are talking about the equipment, which is a countable noun, you would use an article. I need a new basketball. But when talking about musical instruments, you do use the definite article the before the instrument's name. Examples: she plays the piano. He is learning the guitar.
Do you know how to play the violin? 6. Noun followed by a number or letter. There is no article before a singular countable noun when it is immediately followed by a categorizing letter or number. This structure refers to a specific item identified by its label. Rule is noun plus number or letter uses the zero article. Examples: the students have just read chapter 3. The train is about to depart from track 5. Her flight leaves from gate 32. Open your book to page 10. He is in room 45. Please turn to figure 1 in the diagram.
This is Unit A of the building. So as you've seen, the zero article isn't just a grammar detail. It plays a big role in everyday English. Whether you're talking about school, meals, or routines, using or skipping the article can completely change the meaning. Mastering this helps your English sound more natural and fluent. If you want to keep building your grammar, vocabulary, pronunciation, and all-round English skills, be sure to visit www.nannyburns.com for more lessons and resources. Keep practicing, and I'll see you in the next video.